It's the wild card round and you're still interested in what I have to say. Either that or you're watching this video against your will. Either way, to commemorate the playoffs, I have a new way of doing these power rankings. By tiers! And I'll explain things as I go. I actually had this convoluted formula that I was going to do, but since everyone had to rest their starters, we'll have to do it next week. This week will be the last week I do things mostly subjectively, but without further ado, the Swamp League. I'm your host, Trent Hill, and this might be Hill Time Sports. The teams that didn't make the playoffs, the teams that sucked, the Ravens, the Bengals, the Titans, the Falcons, etc., etc. All these teams have a reason why they're not playing in the playoffs to go to the big dance, from bad QB play or just being the Jets. I won't go through them all, but these are the reasons why your teams are not playing in the playoffs. Better luck next year. The something's broken tier. Through either no fault of their own or otherwise, these teams are just not the type of teams that I see going far in the playoffs. Let's start with Carolina. This one is through all fault of their own. They're 8-9. Is Bryce Young good? Does he hit the mark? I don't know how good he is. I hope he's good, but we've seen him be conservative. We haven't seen him be consistent. He just did not perform up to snuff. Dowdle had 10 yards against the Buccaneers. Bryce Young didn't dive on a fumble, and they had 3 turnovers. They did pick off Baker one time, an 8-9 record, and the only reason why they're in the big dance is because, well, Atlanta won a game and tied for first place, but since they have the tiebreaker over Tampa Bay, they're playing in January. That in Tampa Bay decided from October to January that they just couldn't play football anymore. They're the closest to the swamp because they play the Rams and they're most likely going to lose in the first round. So the only thing they could do right now is pray for a miracle and hope that Bryce Young goes for over 400 yards and beats the Rams again. As for the Pittsburgh Steelers, another team that will be likely one and done. They play the Texans and will need Aaron Rodgers, all of his 294 yards to even have a chance, and make sure his arm doesn't fall off. The defense against the Ravens allowed Derrick Henry to run on the first drive, and if it wasn't for a Zay Flowers tripping penalty, probably would have had more yardage. Also, they let Zay Flowers get behind them twice. Isaiah likely caught a moon ball, and I forgot the other guy, but he had a long touchdown as well. The only reason why the Steelers are in the playoffs is because, well, Tyler Loop missed a field goal, and here we are. Pittsburgh's in the playoffs, but they won't be there for long, I don't think. Better luck next year, and maybe they'll finally fire their coach. Who knows, though? The Chargers were without Justin Herbert this week, and it showed. Trey Lance threw a pick 6, fumbled the ball, was their leading rusher. Their defense did have 4 sacks on Bo Nix. Honestly, though, I just don't see this team without an offensive line to protect Justin Herbert. You're missing Slater. You're missing Alt. I just don't think they're good enough on the offensive line to beat this Texans defense that allows just over 18 points a game. Justin Herbert's hand is either broken or on the mend. I don't know. Oh, wait, they don't play the Texans. I apologize. They do not play the Texans. They play the Patriots this week, and I still just don't know how good the Chargers' offensive line is going to be against them. So they're on the second to bottom tier, maybe into the swamp. And all right, the first team, in my opinion, through no fault of their own, are on this tier on the list. They're missing a premier rusher in Micah Parsons. Jordan Love has been injured, and when he did play against the Bears, didn't play particularly well. How healthy can he be? Can he stay healthy and play like he did in the first game? I don't know. I hope so. Josh Jacobs does need to run the ball a little bit more, and the other guys need to contribute. And can someone please find a pass rusher? Rashawn Gary, where have you been? You've disappeared since the beginning of the season. I just don't know whether or not, and I had my headphones on this whole time, I just don't know whether they're going to make it past the Bears this year. If they were healthier and Parsons was playing, I seen them winning the division, but for now, they're close to the bottom tier. And finally, our last on the second to bottom tier, the something broken tier, it's the Philadelphia Eagles. Should I have put them higher? I don't know. They have a very good defense, but I just don't trust Kevin Patullo to put it together in such short time. They rested their starters against the Washington Commanders, and we see why Keely Ringo's not on the field most of the time. As for the key to this game against the Necromancers, well, run the ball with Bigsby, tire him out, get Barkley going, maybe run some read options, run some power with the QB, run a draw with the QB every once in a while, throw the ball to your receivers, and hold the Necromancers to 3 points. But Patullo's a heavy weight on their back or on their ankle, whatever you want to call it. I just don't see them as good enough to win this game. And if they do, then they got to show me something really good this next game. Our next tier goes to teams that I think could win a playoff game, but other than that, I just don't know what their ceiling's going to be. Chicago is probably our weakest link on this one. It's a game that I think could go either way. I think Caleb Williams is a big question mark. What's he going to do? He had an interception, a bad interception. He had 2 touchdowns, but Chicago's one of those teams that, well, they don't play well for the whole game, and then all of a sudden they turn it on. You can't do that in the playoffs, even against the Green Bay Packers, who are injured to oblivion. If Williams plays the clean game, I see them winning. Their defense allows a lot of yardage. They're opportunistic, but how far is that going to take you? And also, the running game sucked against the Lions this week. They lost, but the Eagles couldn't capitalize, so they're pretty low on this tier. We'll see what happens this weekend against the Green Bay Packers. Buffalo Bills are another team where I just see them going either way against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's a very good team. I like them. I like Josh Allen. The problem I have with the Bills is, well, they don't have a number one receiver. Dalton Knox is good. And then you have your Shakirs and your Colemans, who, if they decide to show up, will show up for maybe like 50, 60 yards and nothing else. Your best receiver is your tight end. And this is a two-man show. It's Josh Allen and James Cook. That's your only offense. Defensively, they allow a lot of yards on the ground. Or through the air, they allow a lot of yards through both sides of the defense. I don't trust them. I think if they're going to win this game, they're going to have to tighten it up and play the best damn football they've played in their life. But other than that, I could see them going either home and having to go back to the drawing board, or I see them winning this game and maybe losing in the divisional round. I don't know how far they'll make it. This is their best shot at winning a Super Bowl. There's no Chiefs. There's no Ravens. Well, anyone could win the Super Bowl this year, in my opinion, and Buffalo can too. Our last team right here is the 49ers. They have a solid team, even without much of a defense. The Necromancers, the loss to the Seattle Seahawks defense, and if McCaffrey catches that ball, well, it could be a different game. They had a shootout with the Bears, showed that their defense was average, and then they just couldn't score against Seattle's great defense. I don't know what they are. You have a very streaky Brock Purdy who can play in big games. We've seen it happen. I've seen McCaffrey do wonders. He was just stopped against Seattle. Trent Williams probably be back, so that's a good sign. Ricky Pearsall, you want him back. The key for them is just don't let Patullo's offense be average, and you'll probably be fine and probably be able to beat them. And our final team of this tier, my mistake, yes. Between you and me, I'm just not sold on the New England Patriots. Yes, Drake May is an MVP candidate, has played well. The defense is top 10. I just don't like their strength of schedule. It's one thing to beat up on a team like the Buffalo Bills, but it's a whole entire thing to beat up on teams like the Jets and the Dolphins without Achane and Waddle, and beat up on teams like that. Can they beat a Chargers team without an offensive line to speak of? Well, I think they can, but I don't see them going any further than the first round. I think they could even lose this game. But if I see them beat a team like the Chargers, I will be much more inclined to put them in a higher tier. Just right now, I don't see them being that good because they just haven't beat anybody that I think is like, all right, Well, this team is great. Henderson, and I really like Diggs. I like Butte. I like Henry as receivers. I like their running back tandem. Can't remember the other guy's name, but Madison and Henderson scored 4 touchdowns. So they have a good squad. I like Vrabel too. I like Drake May. Just beat a team that's really good, and you'll be fine. And now we get to the even better teams, the teams I think have a really high chance of winning the Super Bowl. I'm still high on the Rams. Yes, they lose to bad teams, and they've beaten good teams as well. Stafford had a bounce-back game against Arizona. Puka had a nice grab. Tyler Higbee's back. The problem I have with them is their pass defense. If you don't get home with their pass rush, well, they're going to be in for a tough time. And you're playing... Who are they playing? They're playing the Carolina Panthers. We've seen the Panthers beat them. If you can hold him to under 100 yards like a lot of teams do, well, you're going to have a very good chance. And don't turn the ball over, Stafford, because when you turn the ball over, your team loses. I've seen it happen with the Falcons, with the Panthers. Just keep it clean, and their defense is pretty good. Their offense is great, especially on the passing side of things. You have your Kieran Williams, your Pukas, your Devontae Adams is back. You have a plethora of weapons to throw it to. But you just got to hold on to the ball, drain the clock, don't let the offense of the Panthers get going, which is highly unlikely for them to do. But our next team goes to the Texans. They're a scary defense. They're the best defense in the league, points allowed. I see them falter on offense. I like their matchup against the Steelers. The Steelers are a team that, should they be in the playoffs? Shouldn't they? They earned it. Whatever. They can lose to anyone, and any team can lose to anyone. Texans can lose to the Steelers, but it's likely not the case. Defensively, I just think Stingley and the rest of the guys are just too darn good for any team to lose to in the first round. There's not much to say about them. Offensively, they're don't have a really good running game. Stroud is up and down. Offensive line, nowhere to speak of. But it's a favorable matchup because the Steelers' defense just isn't that great either. And finally, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yes, they can lose to Josh Allen. I think it's a totally losable game, but I love Trevor Lawrence this year. He's been good for the last few months after I said he wasn't that good. That last throw to Washington in the end zone was amazing. It was a freaking laser. They rested their starters in a 41-7 win. Unfortunately, the run game can go stagnant, and they averaged 2.5 yards per carry against the Titans. They have a solid defense with Devin Lloyd and company. They play the Bills, and they do have to shut down the run. I know they've had trouble shutting down the run every once in a while. But Jags can definitely win the Super Bowl. I could see it happening if they keep it clean, if they don't turn the ball over, if they find a running game, if they stop Josh Allen and James Cook, well, they could do some damage in the playoffs. And finally, we have the Summit. The Summit is the cream of the crop, or the cream of the crop, in the words of Macho Man Randy Savage. The Broncos, they do have some concerns. Can they score more than 19 points? Is Sean Payton even the right fit for this team? Because he has a pretty good quarterback with a bigger arm than Drew Brees, but yet he decides that it's 2011 and RJ Harvey is, well, Reggie Bush. And he's not. He's not Reggie Bush, and Sean Payton needs to evolve and get a better offense, either that or step down and let someone else take over. Bo Nix, stop overthrowing, and will their defense play to the higher level that they are capable of, or are they destined to play as bad as they were a few weeks ago? I like this team to go on a run. They win ugly, and that's a skill in itself. I think they've earned their bye, and enjoy the rest. You are in the top tier. And finally, Seattle won in a defensively dominant game. Sam Darnold tried his best to give the game away by doing Sam Darnold things. And against San Fran, they did just enough to win offensively. In all honesty, if they can run the ball with Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker and play great defense, and Darnold keeps the turnovers to a minimum, I like their chances to win the Super Bowl. They've been 13-3 in Every year they've gone to the Super Bowl. I don't know how I feel about Darnold, and we'll see when he plays the next playoff game. They're going to have to lean on Charbonnet. They're just going to have to lean on that run game because I don't trust him. I don't. But these are your power rankings for the week. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Which tier would you put each team in? And do you like this format? Let me know in the comments. I'll see you in the next video. Stay blessed. Adios. Boom.